How are we all doing, guys? Seems absolutely ages ago since I did this recipe. This was one of the first couple of recipes that we did live, and it went a bit crazy. So it's the homemade doner meat. The recipe is up in the topics, and also the previous video is in the announcements. But for ones that have come like later on join the group later on, I thought I'd do it live because I'm having it tonight anyway. So for me, I haven't ordered a doner kebab for years. I just think it's one of the dirtiest things to come out of a takeaway. But this one is real easy. It might be a recipe that you don't know. Some of the recipes online are like loaf-tin ones and then you shave them down, or they're done in like a big, skewers, and then you pack it up like that. The only reason I don't really go for them ones is because they take so long to cook right the way through that the inside is moist but the outside is dry. So this one is quick. It's literally, people couldn't believe how quick it was when they started making it at home. It's literally 4 to 5 minutes for the doner meat. That's it, done. So, and it's a real easy recipe as well. We're using beef. You can use lamb, and some people were using turkey. The only thing with turkey, I find it does go quite dry because there's very little fat in it. The best one for this, and you don't have to, but I think if you were going to have a doner kebab anyway, it's like full of rubbish. I go for 10 or 12% on the beef. It just means you get a moister meat. So we've got about 300 grams of, I've gone for 12. It just gives a better, that's the one that I found to give a better end product. So that's 12%, about 300 grams. And then everything else is pretty straightforward. We've just got a teaspoon of everything. So, got some garlic powder, teaspoon. Smoked paprika, or normal paprika, teaspoon. I've gone for mild chili. If you like it spicier, or you can go for the hotter one, or you can have this and some chili flakes. I'm not too brave, so I just go for the mild one just to give it a little bit of seasoning. Right, salt, good flick of salt. Dried mixed herbs, just any dried mixed herbs. Once again, a tablespoon. Right, the next one, probably think I'm a bit crazy, but we stick baking powder into this. The idea, it's not a crazy once you get your head around it. So a teaspoon of baking powder. Basically what the baking powder does, it helps to slow down the binding of the proteins. So usually they'll bind pretty quick, those proteins, and that's when you start losing moisture within the meat. The idea of this is it slows that binding down so we get a nicer end product. It's not as dry. So we've got to mix all this together, and that's literally all the ingredients to make your doner meat. Just make sure it's all nicely mixed through. So that was 300 grams of the mince and a teaspoon of all the other ingredients. Real simple. But trust me, when you add this, you'll look at that stuff that comes out of a kebab shop and you'll just think, why did I ever eat that? Right, I'll just wash my hands quickly. So, the next job is we've got to mould this and get it as thin as we can. So the only issue some people are getting it slightly too thick. We're trying to emulate what comes off when you shave on that bit. So we've got a piece of parchment for the bottom and a piece of parchment for the top. So just non-stick grease-proof paper. So one's gone down first, and then in the middle of there goes your kebab meat. Right, so I don't know if we can see this. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Right, so we've got to get this as thin as we can. It wants to be quite sort of paper thin, because when we come to the end and we start doing it into ribbons, you don't want big, thick pieces of the meat. So just start really simply just rolling that out. I've got a square tray. Work to whatever tray that you're going to bake this on. So, just need to keep rolling that. So, like I say, you want it really, really thin. We don't want it like you've just cut up a burger. So keep going on there. So we can get it as thin as possible. Like I say, you can do it with lamb. I don't mind it with beef. Once you've got all the spices in and all the salad on and everything, for me. The sauces are in the topics as well. If you have a little look up there, in the topics section, there's the, I've done the homemade chilli and the homemade garlic yoghurt. So that's all in there. So if you see, I'm spending quite a bit of time getting that as thin as possible. Plus, it's going to help with the cooking. I'm wanting this to cook in literally 4 to 5 minutes, yeah? So, just peel that off. You only need to peel the top off. We're going to cook it on the parchment. So I've got a tray, probably won't fit on this tray now, but yeah, just about. Just about. Right, so, I don't know if you can see, that's... I can peel a bit back, show you how thin that is. It's almost like sort of, see how thin that is? Slightly thicker than sort of, you know when you get the pepperoni slices for your pizza? The pre-sliced stuff. So that goes into a really hot oven. I've got that about 200, 220, yeah? It's going to take 4 to 5 minutes. So the next job, we've got to have something to serve this in. I like the flatbreads. So I've put the recipe up of the flatbreads as well. Some people are having a few problems with them, trying to get them spot on. So, what we do is I stick about 300 grams of plain flour in there. We stick half a teaspoon of baking powder. That'll just help it with the fluffiness. So, baking powder. You can add what you want to this. You know, if you want to dried chili flakes or something, give it that bit of kick, a bit of minced up garlic, garlic powder, anything like that's fine. So next, natural yogurt. So it's half natural yogurt to flour. So around 150 grams of natural yogurt. We'll go chefy measures. Just stir that in. You want it to form a soft dough. Not too sticky. So just keep adding it till you get your desired one. I do this with anything, like pastry or anything. Whatever the liquid says, add half of it first and then add the other half gradually. So just keep mixing that together till we get the dough. I think we might be about there on that, hopefully. Start pulling that together now. Yeah. So, to cook these, you need, I've got the frying pan already on. So the frying pan needs to be hot, yeah, really hot. You can use like a griddle pan or a skillet, something like that if you want, but it needs to be hot. Can, if you want, leave that to rest. I'm just going to check on this kebab meat. Start having to multitask now, which is never good in your house kitchen. So, yeah, look at that. She's cooked. So that's already cooked, yeah? Beautiful. We'll just set that aside till we need it. Running out of workspace here. But yeah, if you see, how long was that? 4 or 5 minutes. Literally 4 or 5 minutes, that's what we're looking for. And it's going to keep that moisture within the meat as well. So, flatbreads. Next. Just get the rolling pin. I've just floured that slightly. don't use too much. So I'm going to split this into, what should we split it into? I'll split this into four little ones. Right. All right. I'll be here all day just taking bits off and putting it back on. Right, so flatbreads. You can leave it to rest for 30 minutes if you want. We don't have that luxury. So I'm just going to go straight with it and see what happens. Right. There's no oil in the pan. Dry. Don't smother it in loads of flour if you can. Just use minimal flour. Just want that quite thin. If you can see, we've got that quite thin, yeah. Not too thick. We want it to cook really, really quick. Yeah. Right, we get that up. We're going to cook it on that first side till it starts almost like bubbling. We want to get it nice and scorched, yeah? If you don't want to do these, the first time I did it with a pita breads that I just bought in, and that's absolutely fine. Or those thins, if you want to use the thins, something like that, it doesn't matter. But at least try the kebab meat, yeah? So, just going to put this back in just to keep warm. I've turned the oven off now. The residual heat in there will keep it warm enough. Keep cooking it and cooking it, it's just going to go really, really dry. So, the flatbreads. We're going to cook it on this side most of the cooking, yeah? Try and get it set and get that side blistered, and then it goes over. So, this was one of those dishes that everyone sort of started trying. They were like, wow, yeah, how quick it is. And it is, it's really, really quick. You know, it's probably, to get all this ready and stuff, it's going to be about 15 minutes. But how long are you going to wait to get a takeaway that's probably not that great anyway? Even with the flatbreads, what we're going to be, I don't know, we're going to be about 20 minutes or so. It's not a long time. Plus you can get the kids in there, get them rolling the flatbreads. I know my nieces, they've been on these, they've been trying pretty much all the recipes. Absolutely loving it, and it's good. That's what it's about, you know, getting those kids in there and breaking that cycle of all these takeaways. I think that's the important thing. It's not necessarily, you know, making them eat cucumber and celery for tea, but at least if we can get them cooking, they're actually cooking something, you know, instead of just picking up the phone and ordering whatever. And trust me, this, you'd probably prefer this to what you get from the takeaway. And once you've got it, probably freeze it. Yeah, once it's cooked, strip it up, freeze it, stick it in your freezer. I don't know, stick it on your pizzas, whatever. But it's there to hand. Right, so the flatbreads, these are super, super quick. So about 5-6 minutes on each side. Look at that. Flatbread, done. Done and dusted, that's one. So I'll just do one more. And what I've set aside for mine is just a nice little salad, but you can serve whatever you want with your kebab. There is another recipe in there for the chicken doners. That's on the lives. So if you go into the announcements, there's chicken doner recipe there as well. That's quite cool. Do you know how to mix it up? Have a bit of both. I actually do enjoy cooking. It's crazy. I'd spend my whole life in the kitchen if I could. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't think Stacey likes the washing up though. There's been an increase in washing up over the past 3 months since I started doing this. So, once the pan gets to that sort of optimum temperature, it's a bit like, you know, when you're making your pancakes and the first ones are really, they're not as good. By the time you get to the last one, your pan's at the temperature that you really want it to be at. It needs to be really, really hot. It's quite cool if you've got the griddle pan as well, because you'll get those little char marks on it, which are quite cool. So, but like I say, you don't have to. You can use a wrap, use tortilla wrap, whatever you want. I just quite like. I like these. They're just a bit different. You know what's in them as well, and they're a bit lighter. I'm just using the low-fat natural yogurt. You can use zero fat. Work the same. It's not a problem at all. But I just thought I'd do this one for it, because there's been quite an increase later on of people joining the group and maybe missed out on a couple of the bits that we've done early on. So, right, I'll stick one more in. I might try and do all of these and then I'll plate it up. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do the garlic yogurt. Super, super simple, right? So a little bit of garlic powder in there. Natural yogurt. We don't really like the chili one here, so I don't really do it that much. But if there's not many liking it, just you just use like some hot sauce or something, you know, over the top. That's what I've done before. A little bit of habanero or something, chipotle, something like that. Right. So we've got yogurt, just natural yogurt, powdered garlic, and a little bit of just mint sauce, any brand. It's got to be mint sauce, so don't use mint jelly. It just won't work. So that's garlic mint yogurt. Look how simple that is. And some people pay for extra of that. Right, that's lovely. Right, so these flatbreads really, really easy. Next, the doner will be coming out once I've got a little bit of space. Restricted on space at the moment. Right. Most of the cooking is done on the bottom, so then when we flip it over, it's only really to scorch it. That's all I'm looking at. Once I've got the last one in, I can start chopping up the doner meat. But all the recipes that I'm trying to do are sort of designed to be 15-20 minutes. You know, some people don't like spending a lot of time in the kitchen. Some people do. That's fine. But you know, I'm trying to do an all-round sort of thing that it's for everyone, and the quick sort of flavour some meals. Right, last one in. Chopping board down. Right, we'll get this doner meat. We'll show you this. Right, so the doner meat is out. Right. So like I said before, you'll get to grasp with it. I want it to be really, really thin. See that? I don't know if we can see that. It's like really thin, and it's going to emulate what you get from the kebab shop. Then all we do, either with a pizza roller or a sharp knife, right? Just cut that into the slices that you want, like you would do from the kebab shop. So it's easier with a pizza roller. You can just shoot straight down that. But I don't have a pizza roller. I was going to buy one the other week, and then I don't know why, totally forgot. So we'll just use the knife down there. But look at that, and you can see all the juices coming out of there as well. Some of it is fat as well, but that's what's going to keep the meat moist. Yeah, we'll just chop that in half. Look at that kebab meat. It absolutely smells amazing. Right, so the last. Sometimes you get that as well on the pit as well. It starts to bubble up. Right, so plate. Get one of these. Get the one at the bottom. Get the one that you did first. It's a bit more pliable as well. So pull that back up. What we're going to serve with this is just done a real simple salad. So this is just red cabbage sliced up real finely, red onion, cucumber, iceberg and carrot. And I've just finished it with a little bit of lemon juice. Nothing too fancy. A little bit of salt and pepper, loads of doner meat on there. A little bit of garlic mint yogurt. That. You wrap that up like that. Look at that. So that's my version of the doner kebab, but it's like, the thing is getting it thin. That's the technique. I think a lot of people before, when we were doing these, they were like, oh, it's really thick. You have to spend that time rolling it and getting it really, really thin. That's the key to this. And then you get something like that. Super thin. Yeah, really nice. Tastes amazing. Right, I'm off to go and eat that. Right, thanks for watching, guys. I only wanted to do that just for the people that have joined us late and might not have seen it before. I might do one with the little chocolate bread rolls that we did as well, that the kiddies really enjoyed. I might do that one as well on live, just to give the new people that have joined the same experience, really. But yeah, really appreciate it, guys, for watching. Right, have a good weekend. Take care.